Welcome back to my channel. I am Julie with Fit Fusion. Today we are going to dive into everything macro counting. So if you have been in the fitness world or starting your journey, you might have heard the word macro counting before, but like, what is it? And so that just talks about your macronutrients. So you're going to talk about your proteins, your carbs, your fats. Now everybody is different depending on your goals. You're typically given a percentage to follow, but I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of it, and then you making the decision if it's something that's good for you. Because with nutrition, one size does not fit all. So let's talk about the pros. So it is very customizable depending on your goals. Some people count macros based off their body type, so that is a nice personalization when it comes to that. Also, you're going to have increased awareness of your food. So now you're going to be paying more attention to it. You're going to be looking at the ingredients. You're going to be looking at how many pros, carbs, fats, the serving size. So just bringing more awareness to your decisions is already a good thing. So that is nice. So number 3 is going to give you a nice accountability. Right? So you're going to be accountable to this every day of trying to keep track of it. So it is going to help with portion control because you are weighing and measuring everything. And so I think what's neat is you're going to discover that, oh my gosh, the serving size of trail mix is only 1/4 of a cup. It's just my palm, right? So you're just kind of more aware of like how much you were eating or how little that you were eating before you started your journey. A next pro, it's flexible. And so a lot of people are like, well, if it fits my macros, right? So you can, I'm trying to word this, you can eat maybe not the healthiest food, right? And it still fit in your macro counting. So let's say you want some chips or something like that. You weigh your measure in your chips. You put it in there and you're like, hey, it fits my macros, I can have it. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility so you're not eating so strictly. Like I'm eating, not eating gluten, I'm not eating dairy, no sugar. So it has a little bit more flexible approach to it. So sometimes people are able to stay with that a little bit better. However, there are a few cons to macro counting as well. So kind of like just how it was personalized kind of can be a con too, because a lot of nutrition is trial and error. What works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another person. They can have many different things. So they could have maybe gut issues, their hormones are off, right? Maybe you're not absorbing things the same as another person. And so you have a lot of different factors in there. And so if somebody puts you on macros of 30% this, 35% that, it might be a nice base to start, but you're definitely going to have to make adjustments to see how you're feeling. How is your recovery? How is your sleep? There's so much that goes into it. And so you could be following your macros perfect, but not getting the results that you want. And so it's just knowing how to make those adjustments and things like that. Time and effort. It is going to take some time and effort. Yes, you are weighing and measuring all your food that you are eating. Now, of course, the more you do it, the more familiar you're going to get, but that also can create some inaccuracies. And so if you're like, hey, I've been doing macro counting for so long, I don't need to measure anything anymore. Well, you might be off on your macros then. So it just takes a lot of time and energy to do everything like that. Another thing, it can create some obsession, right? So a lot of people are just very obsessed with it. I have to get everything right. I can't miss this. It just adds additional stress, which would then maybe raise your cortisol. It's just something we don't want. When it comes to nutrition, I always tell my members, you got to find something that's easy that you can stay with. If you can be consistent with it, that's fantastic. If something's hard and challenging, chances are you're not going to stay with it. So that's kind of a con there. Also, the pro can be a con too when it comes to flexibility. And so you might not be making the healthiest decision. So let's say you have a bag of gummy bears or a bag of M&Ms and you're like, hey, it fits my macros. That might not have the best quality to it. And so really diving in a little deeper and looking at the micronutrients, so your vitamins, your minerals, maybe looking at the sodium count of things. So there's many different factors that play into that that can be a con as well. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to everything. So you have all your pros, you have all your cons, but ultimately is your decision and what you can stay with and how to reach your goals. So I hope that kind of helps kind of dive into it so you can make a better decision for yourself. All right, see you next time.